Oh, I can quit? Not without the final say, I can't. At my last job, my boss, let's call her Kay, hated me. She turned everything into a competition. She mocked me publicly. She took credit for my work. She divulged my personal medical information in front of all our coworkers. She was cruel, and needless to say, I avoided her as much as I could. So, now that the stage is set, here's the context. End of 2020. Coronavirus blazing. I had just had my first baby. I was a nervous wreck my entire pregnancy. Working from home and being extra careful. After maternity leave, which was disgustingly short BTW, I had returned to the office with some precautions set in place. My boss became crueler to me over those first few weeks back, and suddenly announced that, regardless of any negative feelings toward it, she had decided we all had to attend this training in another state. Keep in mind that there were mandatory 2-week at-home quarantines in place for anyone coming back to my state, but my boss fully planned on ignoring those quarantines and demanding we all would return to the office as soon as we got back. I was carrying a heavy workload and pulling a lot of the weight around the office. And I had some rank. So, I felt fully comfortable expressing my deep concerns to Kay, telling her that it was peak COVID season, and that I had a newborn to worry about now. I expressed I simply didn't feel comfortable going in the middle of a global pandemic and asked if there was a remote training I could attend instead. She firmly, adamantly insisted there was no remote training, and informed me that I could quit if I was that upset with her decisions. It's important to note that she insisted this for weeks, even claiming to have contacted the training organization to make sure. I decided on the spot after that meeting that I would be quitting. But I needed to check my boxes first, which took me a few weeks to figure out. Sometime after this meeting and her incessant insistence that there was no remote training, it finally occurred to me to check with the organization putting on the training and ask them to clarify if there truly was a remote training or not. I did, and lo and behold, there was, and they had been offering it for months. I asked them to email this information to me. Now to figure out how to use this valuable information. Right? Wrong. As soon as I stepped back into the office, Kay starts fake empathizing with me out of nowhere, in front of all our coworkers, saying she really wished she didn't need to force me to go to this training. So, I said, if you feel so bad, let me go to the remote training. She looked at me in surprise, and her face turned beet red. Before she could fight me, I pulled up the email with the information and read it aloud in front of all our coworkers. No one said anything. They just stared, wide-eyed at her while she blubbered like a fool. Long story short, after pulling that fast one on her, I pulled her into a private meeting and gave my notice. She was horrified because, as I stated prior, I carried a lot of the work around the office. But, like she said, I could quit if I didn't like her decisions. Woman shrugging, light skin tone. This was cute and innocent compliance. But honestly, you would have bitten the snake first, if you'd have reported her for violating the law and spouting your personal medical info publicly in your place of employment. That image of you reading that email in front of everyone, I'm dying of laughter here. Keep being awesome, and best wishes to you, little one, and the rest of your family. She was a lying liar that lies. Well done. I never understood the managers that felt the need to poke at their best employees, especially the ones that obviously have options at other companies. My last company was publicly complaint, with all COVID restrictions. But all internal communication made everything seem entirely optional. I was working as a field installation tech when it hit. Any projects requiring travel over 100 miles usually required the company put us up in a hotel. Most of those projects were postponed, but others continued and we were required to drive to and back from the job sites daily. My major project at the time was about 3 hours one way. However, travel for personal reasons was limited to a very specific radius from their HQ. No overtime was allowed without direct supervisor approval, and most guys lived on the OT. Masking was required unless the customer says you don't need to while on premises, which many were vocal about why they did not and would not require masks. In January of 2022, they released a company-wide email mocking the executive requirement for weekly testing for unvaccinated employees, and vowed to protect our freedom. They celebrated when SCOTUS ruled it an overreach of power. I'm so glad I left that place. These days, with good companies begging for good people, you will no doubt land on your feet. Good on you for leaving a toxic boss. BTW, it's beat red, although I would infinitely prefer beat in this case. Could have went. Reported the leaving state. Make the company pay you for 2 weeks then quit after coming back. Honestly thought that was what was going to happen. I would have had the company send the email to a dozen coworkers' addresses and the CEO to throw a monkey wrench into things. What did she get out of forcing everyone to go? I imagine it would have cost the company way more money, put lives in danger, put them at risk of litigation for not following quarantine protocol, risked a lot of sick leave from those who contracted COVID. I guess you really could be evil and just want to inconvenience the whole team, but it seems like she'd lose much more than she gained. Yikes. Damn. If only you stuck your guns and refused to go. If she fired you over it, you would have a great wrongful termination lawsuit due to the nature of the pandemic and could have sat and collected stimulus checks for over a year without working while you sorted out the legal. What an absolute starts with B. Rhymes with which. Disliking one of your employees is one thing, but she actively undermined you and put your health and your baby's health at risk. She should not only have been fired on the spot, she should have been arrested. If that company had anything to do with the medical field, then her divulging your medical info is a punishable offense, as it is a direct HIPAA violation. All you have to do is report it to your state board of health. If in the US, I believe the statute of limitations on that sort of thing counts in the years category. Very nicely done. Bosses like her try the "you can always quit" like that's actually some sort of threat. Gosh yes. That would be awesome, Miss K. Hope you got a fresh job with a slightly less K for a boss. Great post of MC. Look forward to more stories in the future. Smiley face. Mom's got one less brah. Why didn't she want anyone to go to the remote training in the first place? FK that CVNT. Walk. Perfect smiley face. You should have quiet in front of everyone and told her why you were quitting and just walk out. Take sick leave or PTO if available.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.